So now I want to revisit an older anime that is a cult classic that brought many new faces to anime, including myself. Akame got killed, a show people can't stop putting on their list of animes they wish got a second season. So what exactly happened to the show? So I did some Google searches and looked for as much credible information as I could, and found Akame got killed is in the top 50 of all-time popular animes. Huh, who would have thought? And I instantly realized I was gonna have to do a lot of research. Like, how does a top 50 all-time anime not have a season 2? But let's pause here. If you're new to this channel, my name is Barry, and this is my Why Akame Got Killed Isn't Getting a Season 2. I talk all about what goes behind your favorite animes, and if you like this kind of content, do make sure to leave me a like down below, because that sends the message to YouTube to push the video, and I really want to get 500 likes on this particular video. Also, let me know down in the comment section below, do you want a season 2? Comment yes or no. Lastly, a staggering amount of people like the video but don't subscribe. I can't even begin to think about how much this would actually help my channel, so please do consider subscribing. If you do, comment I subscribe and I will make sure to comment back to you. And make sure to watch till the end so you don't miss anything. Now, let's talk about the show, just in case you forgot. Night Raid is a covert assassination branch of the Revolutionary Army, a military assembled to overthrow the Prime Minister Honest, whose avarice and greed for power has led him to take the advantage of a child emperor's inexperience. Without a strong, benevolent leader, the rest of the nation is left to drown in poverty, strife, and ruin. The members of Night Raid are all experienced killers, but they understand that taking a life is less than commendable work, and that they will likely face retribution for their actions of not having any mercy when coming to face with anyone who stands in their way. The assassins' newest member, Tatsumi, is a naive boy who is from a remote village who has to embark on a journey to help his impoverished nation, and was won over by not only the ideals of Night Raid themselves, but the resolve. Akame Got Killed follows Tatsumi as he fights the Empire and comes face to face with the powerful weapons, enemies, and challenges to his own morals and values, and ultimately what it truly means to be an assassin with a cause. Now, this all sounds good, and we can understand how badass the idea of the show sounds, but to say it didn't have any problems is absurd. This show, from the adaptation and the general examination, has issues, with it being the idea of trying to overthrow the powers that govern. 1. If you kill the leader, you have to replace him with a new one. Most of the targets in the show were high-ranking officials and nobles, but that being the case, they didn't and couldn't have killed all of them. Simply killing the man at the top is just going to replace him with another one, just like him. On the other hand, cause another revolutionary war to find out who the next leader would be. And if you thought that the people would love having another war that would put them further into poverty, then great job, stupid. 2. Poverty would still be there, even if you kill. Taking war out of the equation, you still have to have financial plans moving forward. Simply lowering the taxes of the poor doesn't fix the actual problem. In some shows where there's an actual food shortage, you find the problem was from poor planning or the state's cash cow resource not being as valuable. 3. The emperor is a child. Child emperors have been around for centuries, and if you don't believe me, look at China. My point being, with him, he's actually wanting to do the right thing. He's just naive. Simply killing him could bring someone much worse into power. So how about you don't kill him and just educate him on the issues of the poor and poverty of the country? 4. They weren't the good guys. I know we see Esdeath and how cruel she is, but I'ma just say it. Was she on the wrong side? The show wants this to be the battle of good versus evil, the battle of ideals, but it should just be that no one is the hero in the story. Everyone is a killer, who we can see them on the battlefield and also see them when they're taking a break, meaning we see them as normal people. From the first episode on, it teaches you not to blindly trust everyone. So she was simply being a soldier to her country. Torturing is not a practice countries are opposed to doing. Did she enjoy it too much? Yes. Does she enjoy killing too much? Yes. Is she evil? Yes. But a simple way to make this show have a real happy ending is if Tatsumi actually joined the army and simply killed the minister and then properly trained the emperor on his country. And if that doesn't work, just become the emperor himself. Or having a voting process as well. Another way is all the members Night Raid trained and planned on staying around to improve the nation afterwards. Esdeath had a massive advantage on winning, but could have been swayed by Tatsumi, and Akame had the ultimate weapon to kill her. Both sides had really good points to just making this an easy victory for themselves. 5. The show was fake deep. Simply trying to make the show dark and contain mature scenes doesn't automatically make it deep and thought-provoking. I will say yes, the journey of Tatsumi is amazing, but the pacing of the stories of the characters was just too quick. For the level they were aiming for, I think it could have been done in 24 episodes, but for a project like this, I feel like a couple more episodes, say 25, 26, would have been better. I think the only other option is to seriously change character ideals. This is a simplified version of what's wrong with the show, but there's more. Like, for how Akame is the mascot of the show, she doesn't have a real goal or character development. What makes it so good of a show is that there's other good characters not named Akame. Like in a poll, when they asked fans, who's their favorite character? SDEF won. Akame was actually in 4th place, which highlights another problem with the show, with them upsetting fans by killing off all their favorite characters. Blu-rays. Like, I want this anime to win, but this is where I have to look at the numbers and strategies and give an honest assessment. Granted, I can say this in hindsight, but this is where I talk about the Blu Ray sales and the general problems with Akame Got Killed and why it isn't getting a season 2. There is not a main single problem as to why, but we'll mention all of them, as well as different scenarios as how to improve it. Now, as far as the actual Blu-ray sales, how many copies did they sell? In 2014, Akame Got Killed sold 2,152 copies of Blu-rays, with that being 113,700,000 yen, which is 1,028,447.43 US dollars. Keeping in mind that these are the sales focused on Japan and not counted internationally or other income sources. But as for comparison, My Hero Academia sold 3,511 copies the first year, and actually sold less copies the next following years, with the last season being it selling 1,574 copies. So that being said, you could say it sold enough Blu-ray copies to warrant a second season. So speaking of other revenue sources, let's talk about what else they sold. Manga, toys, music collaborations, games, and character merchandise. It's like t-shirts and body pillows. This is where I think they dropped the ball and actually hurt the franchise. Selling character merch is cool, but if the characters are not going to be in future projects, it might be hard to sell their likeness, which is the entire roster of the show. Akame Got Killed is one of the minority franchises though that could have made use of the manga sales. So this is where they can make the difference. The problem here is the website. The website didn't allow you to buy the manga and had merch from sketchy looking Japanese sites that were and still are annoying to use. And an easy way to fix this at the time would have been to literally copy the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood site. You know, the anime rated the best anime of all time since 2009, a site to this day that is still a solid anime website for selling merch. You can buy CDs, Blu-rays, games, and other collab merchandise with the manga on the site, as well as information to where you could buy them if you can't buy them there. I don't see the issue since the manga for both Fullmetal Alchemist and Akame Got Killed are owned by the same people, that being Square Enix. Another way to do something about this is hosting all the merchandise on one site, or at the very least, have Sentai Filmwork have most of the merchandise on their site, as well as they didn't sell any figures or really talk about selling figures on the website. They could have sold that. People love anime figures. What I'm saying is, cut out the middleman, host all of it on one site or something similar to the fact that what Crunchyroll and how they sell their products, and stop making it a hassle for fans to support your project. All I'm saying is, money in this case shouldn't have been an issue, and really when you look at the Blu-ray sales, isn't an issue, like most other animes who have a problem selling. I'm not going to mention streaming numbers because I don't have actual data on the streaming numbers, but come on, they've been around for a lot of years, and they were on Netflix, they've been on Funimation. I think they're still on Crunchyroll, so streaming numbers aren't a problem. Next, we're going to talk about the studio changing the material. It's no shock to anyone that the anime and the manga are operating on two different worlds. One being where the empire is defeated and everything is reaching a natural conclusion and a more happier way to send off the anime. That being the manga, where things make more sense. Akame, Mine, Tatsumi, Kuromi, Wave, and other more prominent characters are living and trying to pick up the pieces left by the Empire. Also, Leon, you could have fucking lived if you just drank the potion. With the emperor having a public execution and the citizens and victims getting revenge on the minister, people are coming together to properly rebuild the empire. In the anime, it was more like a flashy death battle where fans were given fan service of what if battles. Now, fans get mad at the studio for changing the source material. After all, the producers tell them how many episodes they want and the director plans out what happens next. Fans hate them deviating from what the author directed, but what if he intended for this to happen? Yeah, the author wanted them to change his source material. In a sit-down interview with the author, he was asked about the changes. Yeah, no. The interview was not done by Takahiro-san, but instead done by the main director, Tomo Kobayashi. Takahiro-san is a hard guy to contact. I couldn't even find him on social media, or even him mentioning Akame got killed. Still, we have an interview with Tomo Kobayashi. Now we're going to talk about the questions. So, the first question being about the 19th episode, and that plot being surprising, and how it caught a lot of fans off guard, and how the Emperor and Tatsumi's battle ended in Tatsumi dying. He answers, "It is as I expected. Takahiro-san had intended from the beginning that it had a fun plot, and shocked people, but that's before I said also, I read the original manga and I can't really tell which way the plot's going. Perhaps because the anime went one way the manga had to follow." Next question. You've gotten to fresh material after merely 19 episodes. Is that coordinated with Takahiro-san? He answers, "We planned this since 2 years ago. While the manga story is still continuing, the anime has to have a start and a finish. So we took Takahiro-san's plot and ending and rejuggled the plot to fit our needs. We did determine that Tatsumi will die in the battle with the Emperor and the final battle between Akame and Esdeath. However, we did realize that the manga didn't quite go that. In the interview, he gave a vibe of he was okay with how the series ended and that he has no regrets about the series. And he still feels like the core value of what the show was brought to the audience. I will say there didn't seem to be a lot of communication between the main director and the author, as you would see in some other cases. In some animes, the author is actually able to sit down with the directors and talk about the production of the anime, but in this case, it didn't seem that was the case. So what could it get? A reboot or a season 2? Which seems like a better conclusion? A reboot to where you can end off with past characters like Tatsumi, Mine, Wave, and Kuromi could be used again, or do what I think they'll be doing and make a continuation, a season 2. Season 2, after all, would have been based on Hinowa Gayuku. Oh, did you guys not know? After the battle, Akame sets off to the east, where she discovers that she's 1,000 years in the future in a land that she intended on saving. I think rebooting the series just to get Tatsumi back is silly, when they could just continue on with what season 2 would have intended on being. If you make a reboot, I think it would be just a waste of time. Overall, I agree with how the anime used the characters. Yeah, if they kept it as it was in the manga, it possibly would have been a better product. And they could have also done a spin-off with Wave and Kuromi, along with the possibility of Tatsumi being in season 2, but you can't change the past. Overall, I put this anime at a 3 out of 5. It was a classic at a time when people in the West and internationally needed something to watch to bring them into anime. This anime brought in a lot of people to the medium and it still holds up well over time. I think the changes made weren't so bad that it could never get another season, seeing as the content of the next season would have been entirely in a new empire and new challenges. But if you wanted to have all the same characters come back to season 2, understandably, that can't happen. But if you just want to see Akame, then root for the new project and support the author's new work in Hinowa Gayuku. That is the successor and true season 2 of Akame Got Killed. Now, if you like this content, do make sure to leave a like down below, because that sends the message to YouTube that you like the video and tells them to push it to more people. I really want this particular video to get 500 likes. Also, comment down below, do you even want a second season? Comment yes or no. And lastly, a staggering amount of people like the video but don't actually subscribe. I can't even begin to think about how much this actually helped my channel, so do consider subscribing. It is free. But that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you all for watching. Peace.